Hello.
Hello,
And
and
welcome.
welcome back to the show.
The show, as you keep
The Be Your Own
referring to.
Coach show is back.
I like it.
It's near the end of January,
It is. It'll probably be February by the time this is
potentially.
released. Goes past our production team,
Yes.
aka me and you on the computer.
Yeah. With some AI assistance. Boom.
Okay.
What-
We
Sweet.
want to talk about comparison and being content.
Mm-hmm.
Because
The two C's.
the two C's, because start of the year, rightly, wrongly, no judgment, start of the year can bring a lot of, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to do that. And quite often when something is brought into our focus, we are naturally, in our own brain's algorithm, aware of other people that are doing that thing. So, straight away, if you type in career development, or let's go an easy one again, let's say fitness, into your Instagram, suddenly you are flooded with that content.
Yeah.
Which can often bring in the idea of comparison, because you've just opened this door to everybody else who's doing the thing that you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
So naturally we can start to compare ourselves.
Yeah. And the fitness one is the cliche, obvious example, but it's also the one that is probably the most extreme because not a lot's going to happen in 4 weeks.
Yes.
And yet you are probably consuming more fitness content than ever because it just feels like you go to the gym, you see someone, you talk to them, you connect, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're following them and they've been training for 10 years, you've been training for 4 weeks, and you're like, why do I not have abs like that guy?
Yeah.
And so on and so on. But I think it's also perfectly relevant on a longer term scale. We look at the whole year. If you're going for a promotion or you really want a promotion and you're really trying for this and yada yada, and then you see other people in the teams or whatever getting them promotions, that comparison is exactly the same. It's just maybe less obvious in them scenarios because it's not as, we look at this, we all know social media is comparison. So
yeah, that's the whole point.
It's ingrained in us. Whereas in them situations where it's more, you might have a distant friend that all of a sudden is getting promotions and doing really well. And it's really hard not to think, oh God, that's not for me, or to sort of go on a downward trajectory at that point.
Yeah. And I think it's maybe important to recognise the confirmation bias in all of this. So if I'm thinking, let's try and go to a business example. If I'm thinking, right, I really want to level up in my career, I want to push for a promotion, push for these new opportunities, put myself out there within my industry, naturally your brain is now going to look for things that suit your narrative, because your brain's constantly trying to please you and keep you safe by keeping you aware of these things. So you're going to go on LinkedIn and the first thing you're going to see is, I'm excited to announce someone else who's been in the industry a year less than you has been promoted. And then you scroll a bit further and there's a networking event and you see a picture of these people that you know and you're thinking, oh God, I should have gone to that. And you start becoming aware of all of these things, these shoulds that you should have been doing. You could have done this and other people are doing that. And I think it's because we naturally, the stuff's always been there. The posts have always been there. I'm excited to announce.
It's the yellow car syndrome, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a scientific paper, the yellow car syndrome?
I am not 100% sure, but it's a syndrome.
Phenomenon?
Theory?
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. That always reminds me of that BN. Do you remember the advert? The biscuits. Phenomenon.
Great biscuits.
Anyway.
Biscuits.
Never compare B&Ms to... Anyway.
But you hit a good point, and I've got I'll just say confession, but it's not really a confession.
Oh wow, this has got deep really quickly.
Yeah, I really love B&Ms. I love B&Ms.
What are they called? BN. Right, okay.
Okay.
Tell me about your confession, your biscuit confession.
Biscuit confession. Sorry, I need to get the ends out of my face. So when we started the business, we set up in 2008, and then it got to kind of 2013-14 time. And it's when we sort of put our head above the parapet, as we called it, and we started looking at what other people were doing around us, what competitors were doing, etc. Before then, we were just doing what we enjoyed and doing great work. And we started to see there was businesses that were set up the year before that started to win all these awards, and they were in the PR articles, and there was a lot of attention. And it was a bit of a weird time for us. We were like, hang on, we've been around for a while here. What's going on? Like, why are we not winning them contracts, etc., etc. And this went on for a couple of years, and it was always a subtle uncomfortableness, let's say. And then something happened where a business won Business of the Year, a very legitimate, prestigious awards, and went bankrupt the following week.
Wow.
And it was that moment when we realised that, I realised personally, should I say, that this was me doing exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is I'm looking for the single points and missing the big picture of them organisations. Most of, like in that example there, they were scrambling around to probably try and get more work by doing these awards and PR. And the driver behind that was that they had no work.
But it comes down to the perception, doesn't it? Perception is not reality.
It's not reality, but I will counter that with, it is reality for every individual. So I know if I felt that, being someone that was educated in the space of how this works, I know that 99% of people that saw that were that, oh my God, that business is doing really well.
Yeah.
So I could go and see, as an example, you go see my parents, for example, and they'd be like, oh, have you seen that this person's doing really well? And I was like, yeah. And it used to really grind on me, whereas now they do it, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because the big picture isn't clear. You're just seeing them one highlight reels.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I think the commercial world has some lags on Instagram. So Instagram 3-4 years ago, in terms of the comparison, it was, we all know now, if you go on Instagram, it's not real.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the highlight reel, the moment in time, the edited photos, etc., etc. The business world's lagging on that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
It's starting, but it always has done. But it's starting to creep in now where rather than an edited photo, it's an edited PR article. Rather than a highlight reel, it's a look at this client we won, but ignore these clients we lost because you're not going to see them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of similarities, I think, to that world.
I agree with what you're saying, but do you think the lag is sometimes the human lag? And I can only put this from my perspective, and we've had these conversations, so you know exactly where I'm going. When I first came to like the LinkedIn side of things, let's go, you know, the professional platform as such, I remember seeing coaches, business owners putting out all these things, you know, the classic one, how I made X figures and how I did this, and I've been working with, and I've won this client.
Buy my course below.
Yeah. Click the link below. Right, okay. But I remember sitting there thinking, well, this, I can't compete with this. You know, this is amazing what these people are doing, and and then 6 months later, you're thinking, do you know what? I've not seen anything from that person for ages, and then you find out that it all was smoke and mirrors, and it's all ended, and they're now in a completely different space. Absolutely fine. It could have been through choice. It could have been through circumstance.
But that's the perception of reality. Your perception was reality, and you and 1,000 other people saw that.
But do you not think the lag comes from, it's just learning? Because for me now, I think that process happened a couple of times, and then I started to go, 1 second, right, whatever I'm seeing. So now when I see things, okay, I'll take it face value with a whole grinder of salt and going, amazing if it's true, amazing if it's not true. And maybe this is what we're getting to, the whole part of it is, that doesn't affect me or you or whoever's listening. We're talking about comparison, and we're saying here, maybe this is a tangent, but we're saying here, it's not always real. It might be real until it's not real. We're talking about all these comparisons, but what if we just stop the comparison?
If it was real.
Yeah, even if it was real.
Yeah, because
is it adding any benefit to you? Is it helping you move? Yes, if it's helping you get a bit of a fire under, you know, I always say success leaves clues. So if there's someone that you aspire to be like as such, or who's aspirational in your space, incredible. I mean, I'd check the validity, check the credit, and check the reality. If it lights the fire, 100%. But if it's causing comparison with which has a negative outcome, what's the point? And maybe that's it. If you're solid on what you're doing, you know your why, you know your intention, you know the value behind it, you know the problem you're solving for your client, your customer, your audience, for you. If you know where you want to go in a business, if comparison isn't helping, because it will help some people, especially the competitive people, it'll really help. But if it isn't, if you find yourself going on LinkedIn, having a scroll and feeling like you've just taken emotionally 3 steps back, why bother?
Yeah. I'm going to argue, I think that I don't think
Okay.
comparison ever helps.
Do you not?
I think it's competitiveness, which is
Oh,
different.
okay.
Because
Can't they be laced together?
I think they overlap, but I don't think they're the same. So I think when someone that's using comparison to progress, they're not comparing themselves to that person as in looking up at them.
Right.
They are saying I'm better and I can do better and this is it. And that's competitiveness, I think, kicking in.
Okay, so my argument would be if I'm looking at someone and you went straight away to I can do better, comparison, I can do better than that. My argument would be that a lot of people I speak to would look at somebody and go, I'm not as good as that.
Yes, so that is comparison.
Yeah.
That's comparison. And they're the people that I think have there's no benefit of doing the comparison.
Yeah.
But the people that I think have some benefit, they're not really comparing, they're just competing.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. Okay. So
can I throw 3 C's in?
Go for it.
So we've got
comparison,
competitive, content.
Lovely.
Can we get any more in today?
I'll leave that there. Okay. So we've talked about comparison. We've talked about competitiveness, which I think is really important then.
Yeah.
And I guess it's making sure that you are being, well, no, this is maybe my perspective, competitive to the point where you are also being competitive with yourself. Because if you're constantly competing with somebody else,
it fades out all the time. I think
it fades out. And also, I think I don't like to use the term burnout because I think it's kind of overused and generalized, misused. Yep. Yeah, misused and generalized. But if you're constantly competing, you're constantly battling something.
Well, yeah, and you're constantly behind as well.
Yeah. So what about if we just looked at that competition as competing with yourself?
Well, this is something I know to mention because, again, if we think about sports is always a good analogy for me. I'm sure for other people it is as well, but running is probably the only sport where the vast majority is competing with yourself and very little is actually competing with other people. So if we ignore the elite athletes, because they're clearly competing with other people, most people that are going to go run a marathon, run a 10K, whatever, are very rarely competing. When they go and run, you're not looking at the guy next to you and going, I'm going to beat you on this marathon. You're looking at it and going, I'm going to hit 4 hours. So you are truly competing with yourself, which I think is a rarity because most sports activities, you're always looking at what's
other
around
people.
you. Yeah. But I think it's valid. It's just really hard, I think is the answer. But this is where I was talking about before about why I think LinkedIn as a platform, that's what we're talking about mainly here, is that because it's mimicking the Instagram of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We all know now, if you go on Instagram, that the comparison exists.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are walking away from Instagram because of that reason, because it doesn't serve them. But LinkedIn's still lagging behind on that. And I think people are still going through LinkedIn, looking at all the success stories and it makes you feel shit, basically, is the crux of it.
Yeah.
And that's where you then end up on this trajectory. So if you start, you're on this trajectory going, 1% improvement a day or 1% improvement a month, or whatever it is, you're on an upward trajectory. It's really easy to knock that motivation and discipline and just go, what's the point? Because they're always going to get the PR articles, they're always going to get the promotion, they're always going to get the pay rise, and then you just go, forget about it, I'm just not going to try. And I think that's where the swing is so big if it's too negative.
I think there's 2 points there. One would be from a coaching standpoint to understand why we naturally go into the negative.
Why
you said there, because it makes you feel shit. In my head, when it does, but there will be some people that go, oh no, that doesn't bother me. So why does it make you feel shit? Because usually when you're pushing out of your comfort zone, there's some form of growth, there's something new. Your brain can't guarantee that is going to be successful. You're setting up a business. Is it going to work well? There's a risk there. Your brain's primary job is to keep you safe. That is it.
Yeah.
So if it can't guarantee that you're going to be successful, aka safe, and that could be safe ego-wise, that could be social status-wise, that could be financially, that could be job security, all of these things. If it can't guarantee that you are going to be safe, it is naturally going to look for all of the indicators that you aren't safe. So example being, if you are arachnophobic, so terrified of spiders,
Yeah.
and you walk into a room and someone says, oh, this is a lovely room, it's a library, there's some gorgeous books in here. There is a spider though. There's some amazing books, there's so many opportunities for you to learn. The only thing your brain is thinking is, where the hell's that spider?
Yeah.
It's never going to look at the incredible opportunities out there. It's going to be looking for the problem, because there's something that makes you feel unsafe. So when we're pushing out of our comfort zones, be that professionally, be that personally, our brain is always going to find the thing to go, oh, see, I wouldn't do that. Oh, see, somebody else is doing it better, which means you probably can't do it. So you're probably better off just staying back in your box.
Yeah.
And I think the only way to work with this, and this is the whole point, work with it, it's totally normal, your brain's trying to keep you safe, is to acknowledge it and go, right, well, is this serving me? So when you're on LinkedIn or when you are scrolling Instagram and you find yourself looking at other people, just quick pause and go, okay, is this helping me? Am I safe? Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Is this helping me? Because you've ultimately got a choice. It doesn't feel like you have a choice. But if you're noticing that you're subconsciously looking for things to reinforce that negative bias, just question it and go, wait, is this helping me? Is it going to help me move towards my goals? And someone said, and I can't remember where I read this, if you were watching your behaviors, would you be proud of what you're doing? And that's really important for me. So when I find myself just scrolling on social media, I just have a moment and think, if I'm watching my own life, am I looking at me right now thinking, oh, that's a really good, I'm proud of how you're utilizing your time? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it just helps zoom out. So that's the one area. And I think the other part of it that is worth touching on, so that's why our brains do it, is also to look at this idea of being content in what we have. And that doesn't mean being stagnant. It means enjoying the process. Because when we compare, and again, I'm jumping all over now, but when we compare, we usually compare somebody's finish line to our journey. Okay. But when you speak to anybody, and if you read any articles, well, I'm sure you sold the business. Was the best part selling the business, or was the best part the journey, building it from scratch, getting the team members on board, learning all those challenges? Yeah. Most people compare a finish line to a journey, but whenever we speak to people, business owners, people who are at the top of their, let's quote unquote, the top of the game, they always talk about the journey, the pushes, the highs, the lows. It was incredible. That's the journey. So when we're comparing, we're actually trying to skip out the best bit.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, and I've got a lot of thoughts on that I think we may have to discuss separately, because I think that's probably a whole topic in itself.
Okay.
Because that's something that I've gone through over the last 3-4 years, whatever it's been, and I've swayed around a lot because the rose-tinted glasses come on, but I'm also doing very similar things again. So yeah, I don't think it's always black and white as that in the example we use there, but I think that's probably a topic another day. But I think you're right. The process is really important, because if you're not enjoying the process, we've talked about this before with goals. If you're not, if you're setting a target to run a marathon and you hate running, then you're going to hate every second of training. Yeah. So
the pushback, you're going to,
might feel great, but is that 5 minutes of that and plus, 2 days of social media posts worth 6 months of running half marathons before breakfast? That's a trade, isn't it? There. So, and I think there's some good. It's a very interesting topic, that actually, on reflection. I think we've definitely this. My mind's flooding with ideas, but I know we want to be on point with this one today. So I think we can come back to the journey.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the journey, but I guess what we're saying is, when we're talking about comparison and being content,
can comparison ever be good?
Can comparison ever be good? Depends how it's being used.
I can't think of an example where it would be good. Comparison, not learning from someone, because I think they're different. I could look at there's plenty of great business people that I've taken advice from. I'm not comparing with them. I'm taking advice from them. And however, when I think about anyone I've ever tried to compare with, it's always from a point of, I want to be like them and get their finish line. but that's never a good thing because there's no information in the middle.
I think comparison is completely natural and normal for humans because it is, let's go back, hundreds of thousands, even evolution-wise, comparison was really important because you want to be top dog. Ultimately, when we look at evolution and mating, you want to be top dog. So that there was always, we are born with that comparison in, I believe. And I think, so it's normal. So I want to add on a layer of, is it good or is it bad? Because I think it's
might be too
ingrained.
I think it's there. You can't help it. Just like, all the other emotions, public speaking, etc. That you just, there's nothing you can do to necessarily stop it. But my question is, can it be a good thing?
I think yes. Okay. I think it's the seed and it's what you do from that. So, for example, let's start. I've gone straight away. I'll remember it clearly. An audition for Dirty Dancing, West End at Pineapple Studios. Can't remember what year it was, back in my youth. And I remember being in the room and there was a girl next to me, and immediately I felt comparison. This comparison. I can't articulate it, but I remember looking at her, watching, because she looked a bit like me, which in that industry it matters a lot if what people look like. She looked a bit like me. She moved a bit like me. We had very similar songs, and straight away I started to compare myself to her. Bearing in mind, there's two elements here. I'm thinking, okay, well, where are we different? Because I then want to play into my differences, because that's going to be a strength for me.
Okay.
So I could use that. This is in a competition setting. But the other part of it was, she got through, I didn't. So in this situation, she got through and I didn't. And then, as I say, with I could have either gone comparison negative, or, which is why I think it is a fork in the road. Comparison is not binary, neutral. I think it's always going to happen. It's what you do with it.
Okay.
And in that instance, I remember doing it. I remember looking at her thinking, right, okay, it is what it is. She's got through. How can I use that information? Because she's very similar to me.
You become better. Right. Okay.
So how can I look at that and go, oh, she was great. Right. And weirdly, I ended up chatting to her after. We ended up getting talking. I asked her what classes she did, if she did any extra pieces of like rehearsal, things like that.
And then you beat her up, so you got the part.
And then I sabotaged the whole thing. But so I think comparison is neutral. It's what you do with that dictates the outcome.
Right. Okay. That makes sense because you're pulling the information out that's relevant. But that, when I think about comparison, I'm thinking about ultimately fitness, Instagram. It's impossible to get any information that's valid.
Because it's not true, though.
Exactly. So when we talk comparison, I actually defaulted to the PR articles and the Instagram pictures, right? Which it's almost impossible to locate relevant information from that would help me. So actually, in that ultra processed version of comparison, it is useless.
Yeah.
But if I was at a lifting event, and I'm watching somebody and I'm comparing my form to theirs, I can take cues if they're lifting 100%. Heavier, which is actually a really interesting point that I didn't consider. So I think that's a really nice analogy that comparison is neutral.
Yeah.
It depends on the source and what you take from it.
I think someone had also said, I remember talking about this ages ago with someone, and it's exactly what you're saying about Instagram. So if you're seeing a running account, let's go, or a business account, we're seeing a portion of somebody's life, and it becomes our everything. But if you're going to compare to someone, if that's how you go, you've got to take the lot. You can't just take their running time. You have to take their life, their job, their relationship, their everything about them. You can't, the parents, their siblings, their trauma, whatever you want, you can't spot pick what you want. I'd love to...
You can't mimic in comparison, basically, which I think is where it ends up.
I'd love to have the strength of a power lifter, so I can compare myself to them. I'd love to be able to run full stop. So I'd love to look at that. I'd love to have the business acumen of whoever, but these are I could get my vision board of people. There's only 20 people where I want a bit of everything. So if I start comparing myself to each and every person, one, it's exhausting, it's unrealistic, and ultimately it's 20 different people.
And that's your ultra processed comparison in the sense of it's meaningless, and that is where you'll feel negative.
Which is where I think you have to just turn the flashlights back on yourself and go, okay, this is fine. This is these things are here. I'm feeling these things. What can I do about it?
That's
and just bring it back into your locus of control, because you can't control other people's stuff, and it might not even be true.
Yeah. So you can use comparison to find potential gaps in your ability or ways to improve whatever 100%. It is you're doing, without it being a sort of looking at someone and saying, I want to be like that. It's more a case of, okay, how can I see what they're doing and improve what I'm doing, or take little nuggets of that and improve it?
Which comes down to that, and maybe a good way to kind of close it is that idea of success leaves clues.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody who's achieving something that you would like to achieve, find the clues, play detective.
Yeah.
Going back to what we said and kind of my word of the year, that idea of curiosity.
Yeah.
How can I be curious around that? And being content in who you are as well.
It does align to that, doesn't it? Yeah. Not trying to just be the picture or be the snippet, as we said.
Because you can only be you. So if you're comparing yourself to somebody else, you're never going to be somebody else. You can only be you. So what does that version of you look like? Because you'll bring, for everyone that you're comparing yourself to, there'll be someone out there that's comparing themselves to you and wanting what classic at the gym, isn't it? The person who's running a whatever pace, you're comparing yourself to them, but the person who's only just started running, they're looking at you thinking, oh my God, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, there's a great cartoon I think I've seen loads of times that is the
walking, the biking, and
the guy that's sort of stood at the bus stop going, I wish I had a bike. The guy on the bike saying, I wish I had a car. The guy in the car saying, I wish I had a Ferrari. The guy in the Ferrari saying, I wish I had a helicopter, and so on and so on. Yeah. So what I took from that is be the guy with the best helicopter.
100% without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. And fly over everyone and just kind of wave like a royal.
But then you come full circle, and the guy in the best helicopter is looking and going, I wish I had a chilled life, and vice versa. So everyone, the grass is greener, comparison, fee for joy, etc., etc. But I think you're actually right, and I think that's what I'm going to take away from this, is that comparison, I had comparison down as a negative thing, full stop. And I think you've changed my mind.
Have I?
Yeah.
I'm going to invoice you.
Yeah, you should do.
And on that bombshell before I started domestic.
So yeah, no, it was good.
Okay. Just some ideas. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of competition as well, what we spoke about in terms of competition.
Yeah, I think competition has really. Maybe we should do a whole conversation competition, because it has such a negative connotation generally that we're taught now to dumb down's the wrong word, to tone down the competition, to not be competitive, to not be that guy. But the reality really is competition can be really good if it's done right, but it can be really bad if it's done wrong.
I think it'll be an interesting one for us, because I've always said that I'm not particularly competitive in certain areas, and you've always said that you are competitive. And
we can have a race to Greg's now, and I'm competitive.
Yeah.
On how many sausage rolls I'm going to eat that day, if that's the challenge.
The chicken nugget challenge.
The chicken nugget challenge,
yeah. But I'm not sure, if I'm being totally honest, if I pull back the layers, I'm not sure if me saying I'm not competitive is a protective mechanism of...
You just explained it. You just explained an example there. You were in one of the most competitive industries of all time. And one of the, brutal competitive industries.
Yeah, savage.
But
yeah, if you said to race to Greg's, I'd rather audition for Cats than do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I know I'd win. For that sausage roll.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, on that bombshell. Competition coming soon.
Yes.
But I hope you all have a wonderful week.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.